What's up, guys? Welcome back to the garage. Thanks for tuning into my channel. We are into 2023, just a couple days here into the new year. I thought it'd be fun to give you my most anticipated movies of this year. Movies that will be coming out in 2023, or at least we hope so. There's actually a couple movies on this list that were supposed to come up last year in 2022, and they got pushed back to this year. So they still are some of my most anticipated films of the year. So I'm just going to list these real quick. These are 5 honorable mentions that didn't quite make the top 10, like I said. First up is Wonka, directed by Paul King. It's Timothy Chalamet playing Willy Wonka and kind of telling the story that's a little more leaning towards the original book by Dahl. And it's directed by the guy who did Paddington 2, which a lot of people in movies would probably say that's a masterpiece. So let's see what he can do. Let's see what Chalamet can do. It's probably going to be a family fun film, which is going to be good to take my kids to see. So Wonka, it just barely missed my top 10. It was hard to put this one really high on the list because I'm actually seeing it this week. I'm seeing it in a couple days, but I'm really excited to see Megan. Megan, in the style of like Child's Play and Annabelle, is this doll, but it's an AI robot that is half CGI, half portrayal by an actual actor. And we get this kind of weird trailer, and there's a lot of weird shit going on. The viral marketing for this movie has been off the charts. Some of the best marketing for a film that I can actually ever remember seeing, and at least in recent times. I'm really excited to see Megan. I feel like it's going to be Blumhouse, schlocky, cheesy, but I love that kind of stuff, so I have a feeling I'm going to really take to this. Allison Williams from Get Out is in it. So I'm really excited to see Megan. Like I said, I'm seeing it in a couple days. There'll probably be a review on this channel. So I'm putting this one on here, guys. The Flash, directed by Andy Muschietti. I am excited to see Michael Keaton back as Batman. The movie itself with Ezra Miller and just the troubles around the production of this movie have really kind of drained the energy out of it for me. But anytime there's a chance to see Michael Keaton in the cowl again and back as Batman, you can guarantee that I will be in the theater, and I'm anticipating it. So that's why this movie makes the list for me, or I should say just misses the list for me. But it is one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and I am excited to see what DC does with it. Because before all the controversy talk really began, people were saying this is one of the best DC movies in years. And if you know me, that's not really saying a lot. The bar is basically on the floor, in my opinion. But I am excited to see it, mostly for Keaton, like I said. I also have Killers of the Flower Moon in my honorable mentions here. Whenever Scorsese directs a film, it's an event. And it's definitely in the running every award season. People give performances of a lifetime. We've got Robert De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio coming back. It's a Western. I don't really know anything about it. That's what's cool about doing these anticipated lists. Unless there's been a trailer, which I mean there has been for a few of these that are going to be on the list. But not for this one. It just keeps getting delayed. I think it's Apple TV, which I'm a big fan of as well. So I'm excited to see Killers of the Flower Moon for Scorsese, for DiCaprio, for De Niro. Let's go. And then the only other one I'll mention that fell right outside of my top 10 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Obviously the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse from a few years ago, which in my opinion is one of the best animated films of all time. I said it. Also, it's one of the best movies based around a superhero that we've gotten in years, in my opinion. I'm looking at movies like Avengers Infinity War, and then for me, kind of a steep drop-off and just superhero films in general. But that's really mostly attributed to my fatigue, and I accept that. But I am very excited to see what they do in this Lord Miller style. I love the first one. So Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse just misses my top 10. All right, coming in at my number 10 most anticipated movie of 2023 is a film called 65. I want to give a shout out to my friends Steve and Izzy from Everything I Learned from Movies. They actually turned me on to this film. I didn't even know it was a thing. The trailer's out, so I went and watched it. It comes out in March of this year. It's a film where Adam Driver is an astronaut or a scientist or something. He's on a spaceship in the future. There's a problem with the space-time continuum. His ship ends up crashing on Earth, and it happens to crash during the prehistoric era 65 million years ago. Hence where the title of the film comes. You know, when you have a premise with dinosaurs, it's really hard because everything is Jurassic Park. Jurassic. That is definitely the litmus test for a dinosaur action film. So this is very intriguing to me because I feel like it's something new that they could do where it's actually taking place in the dinosaur era with modern technology because it's a futuristic spacecraft and there's futuristic weapons. The trailer looks phenomenal. It looks like it has elements of horror built into it, definitely thriller and suspense. Adam Driver, who's one of the best around in my opinion. So I'm very excited to see 65, and I will be checking this one out. Let's have some fun, guys, with my number 9, Cocaine Bear. I did a trailer reaction for this movie when the trailer dropped a few weeks ago. This just looks fucking crazy. I mean, what else do you need to say? It's based on a true story somehow about a wild bear that ends up eating a bunch of cocaine from a truck or airplane crash in the woods. And he just goes on this kind of like coke-fueled rampage, killing people. I assume there's horror elements built in, which of course I'm going to love. You've got the cheesy campiness of it all. I mean, how could this not be just a crazy fucking ride? A movie called Coke. The title alone tells you what you're getting into. People laugh. I mean, you know, I'm not too uppity, so I'm excited. Let's do Cocaine Bear, guys. I'm excited to see this one. I can't wait. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Why is that title so long? I am not excited for the title, but I am excited for the movie and for the franchise. Ever since Ghost Protocol, I feel like this franchise has pretty much been a very, very consistent plateau where every movie has just been as good or better than the one before it. They're all top-tier action films with great special effects, usually awesome score and cinematography accompany these. Tom Cruise, who is a certified movie blockbuster icon, that will put butts in the seats, which is great for movie fans. I just want to see what he does. I mean, he's promoting this film hanging off of cliffs, hanging from helicopters. I mean, the guy's insane. He really thinks about the fans and he thinks about the people in the audience seeing in IMAX or whatever the case may be. This is one of those franchises that I feel like you can enjoy it at home, but you absolutely have to see it on the big screen. So, Dead Reckoning is up there for me. My number 7 will be Christopher Nolan's next film, Oppenheimer. A biopic based on a true story of the guy that basically invented the atomic bomb. We've seen some stills. We've seen some footage. There was a trailer that came out a couple weeks ago that looks great. You know, I hope Christopher Nolan kind of detaches a little bit from these like pretentious special effects, like I'm the greatest filmmaker, I can do all these really cool things, to more of a script, story-driven kind of narrative film, which it looks like we're going to get here because it's based on a true story, and I often love when established filmmakers will kind of dive into that pool. Cillian Murphy, who I'm just so happy he's getting a lead role here. The guy is usually in the back seat or a supporting role, unless it's on TV with like Peaky Blinders. But I'm really excited that he's getting a lead role to carry a Christopher Nolan film, which is pretty big. You know, there's rumors that he like basically reenacted an atomic bomb explosion for the movie. So it's kind of weird to say that he's scaling it back a little bit. But come on, it's Christopher Nolan. He's one of the best. I recently did my top 5 Nolan movies on my podcast. You can check that out. But I'm very excited to see what he does with Oppenheimer. And especially after being let down from Tenet, I'm just looking for some more Nolan to get into. Number 6 is a film that's being titled Beau is Afraid, starring Joaquin Phoenix and directed by Ari Aster. Ari Aster, much like Jordan Peele and Robert Eggers, is one of those recent filmmakers that anything they do, I am 100% on board and I am anticipating it with bated breath. The only thing that kind of worries me a little bit about this is that I've heard that the original cut is over 3 hours and that Aster does not want to cut anything, even though the studio is like, come on, let's trim it down a little bit. Does it need to be 3 hours, Ari? I love you. Let's put out a 2.5 hour Beau is Afraid. It's only being described as a zany nightmare comedy. It's Ari Aster. I mean, I can't doubt the guy. Midsummer, Hereditary, 2 of my all-time favorite films. I have high hopes for Beau is Afraid. We just got the trailer about 2 weeks ago as we're sitting here. Scream 6. Guys, I am fucking pumped. Ghostface always has a fan. He's even on my shirt kind of here on my Letterboxd logo that I have on my shirt. I love the kind of worn mask that we see in some of the stills and the trailers, which is different than the store-bought right off the shelf Ghostface mask we've gotten in the other installments. I love the New York setting on the subway, the tension of what I assume is probably an opening scene or an early scene in the movie. All of our main kind of like modern new characters are coming back. We're supposed to get Kirby back, Hayden Panettiere. I'm disappointed that Sidney Prescott is apparently not going to be in it and Neve Campbell's not attached. But kind of putting that aside, it's still a Scream movie. It's still the Scream franchise. I'm sure there'll be nods to her and to those legacy characters in some way. We know Gail and Courtney Cox will be in the film. So there's still going to be that attachment to the legacy of Scream. And it's got to advance, right? It's got to move on. If the franchise is going to continue, those actors are going to age out. Those actors are presumably going to die being stalked by Ghostface their entire lives. So let's get some new characters, which I thought they did really well in part 5. I'm really hopeful. I love the Manhattan kind of like aesthetic that we got in the trailer. For Scream 6, give it to me. I'm ready. My number 4 most anticipated is a film that I can't wait to see with my kids. Super Mario Bros. Movie. Super Mario Brothers. An animated film done by Illumination. Chris Pratt voicing Mario was a little, I don't know, but at the same time, I don't really care. I mean, we're getting a Super Mario Brothers movie that presumably is going to at least look great. It looks like it's true to the video games. There was even Mario Kart Rainbow Road in the trailer that we got to see. So I'm really excited to see how they kind of turn this video game to life. You know, much like I mentioned with Spider-Verse earlier, how they kind of turn that comic book to life. You know, that can be done for a video game movie too, especially if it's not live action and it's animated. So let's just take that video game and those like story concepts we get when we play a Super Mario Brothers story arc game or Legend of Zelda or even Smash Bros or anything like that, and we get that story in the beginning, turn that into a 90-minute film and bring the kids, have fun with the family. The animation looks great. I'm really excited for the Super Mario Brothers movie. I grew up with Nintendo and with Super Mario, so I am pumped beyond belief for this film. As we're sitting here, they just released a teaser for the trailer for Evil Dead Rise, which I didn't even know was happening today. The trailer's coming out tomorrow. I will probably do a reaction for that because that's how excited I am for Evil Dead Rise, which comes out later this year. In my opinion, one of the best horror franchises of all time. There's not been a dud in the mix. Every movie has been entertaining, has been great from a horror perspective with the kills, the blood, the gore, the suspense of it all, the story arcs with characters like Ash and what Jane Levy did in the remake. Just so many great things come from Evil Dead, and I think so highly of this franchise that for them to do anything, I'm just like, I've got to see it. Now, it could end up being the biggest letdown, or it could end up being just, it blew me away. I'm trying to go in with medium expectations, but suffice it to say, I'm really looking forward to that trailer to kind of see what we're dealing with, but I'm very, very excited to see Evil Dead Rise. It's very high on my list, as you can see. Number 2, let's go, guys. Barbie, directed by Greta Gerwig. Who else is going to go from Evil Dead Rise to Barbie? I don't know, maybe somebody has. But I am. I mean, this movie looks fun. I don't know what it is. No one knows what it is. I mean, obviously, it's dealing with the characters of Barbie that we know so well from pop culture, from the toys. But what is it? Is it like a Truman Show type deal? Is it like just a live action Barbie movie, like those Barbie short films you see on Netflix? I mean, nobody knows. Margot Robbie looks phenomenal in it, just chewing up the role. Greta Gerwig, one of my favorite directors. Ryan Gosling as Ken. Casting directors take note. That was perfect. I'm just so excited. Really, yes, I'm excited for the film, but really I'm excited to see what the film is. Even the trailer with like 2001 Space Odyssey kind of parody, you still don't really know what the movie is. So I'm very excited to see what Gerwig and the crew do for this film. And Barbie is one of the most recognizable names in pop culture. So let's see what we got. I'm beyond thrilled for Barbie, believe it or not. And my number 1 most anticipated film of 2023 is a film by the great icon, masterful, the legend, the man, in my mind, my favorite filmmaker currently working today, and that is David Fincher. And it's a film called The Killer. This movie has been described as a portrait of an assassin, someone who's kind of so good at their job and so worn down with doing it, with obviously killing people. I assume that would weigh on you. And we get to see Michael Fassbender in the lead role, kind of playing that assassin, playing that killer. We see what David Fincher has done with those grainy, gritty serial killer types of films, Zodiac, Seven, even Mindhunter on Netflix. You know, the guy kind of knows how to navigate the mind and the space of those people that we're so far removed from that we just don't get it, but he brings them down to our level and allows us to connect to them on a personal level, which perhaps is not the greatest thing because then you're having sympathy for these quote-unquote killers. But I think the portrait of this character that Fassbender is going to be playing, first of all, I think it has awards written all over it. It's Fincher, it's Fassbender. You know, it's going to be gritty. It's going to be hard to watch at times, but it's also probably going to be beautiful. And I'm really looking forward to it. The Killer, I've been looking forward to for a couple years now, and it is supposed to come out in the fall of 2023. So please don't get pushed back so this list is invalid. But that is my number 1 most anticipated movie of the year. Well, there you go, guys. Those were my most anticipated films of 2023. I want to hear from you. What were your most anticipated? Please let me know in the comments down below, and please subscribe to this channel. It really helps me out. I'll see you guys next time in the garage.